Pep Talk UK. Pro B's.
Back in the house.
Back in the house. Back outside, as they say.
Oh yeah, back in the open, yeah, for real.
Yeah. Near the famous Wembley Stadium. Hey, home of England, the England football team. Where the big matches and the big fights.
Yes.
Joshua Klitschko went down there years back, and I remember that was a momentous occasion. I'm delighted to be joined by the man himself, Mr. Julius Francis. How are you?
Hi guys, I'm good, thanks. You know, back working and trying to keep things safe and happy, and you know, working and rolling or whatever as they say. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we were just talking off camera about the state of boxing at the moment. We need more big fights, don't we?
We was more talking about the state of heavyweight boxing, but I think that, you know, I haven't been following so much the smaller guys, the guys in the lower divisions. But I know and I've heard that the Conor Ben fight, Conor Ben's meant to be fighting, or he's got a fight lined up, which I'm quite pleased. I do like Conor. Some of the, I think I've been following about Billy Joe Saunders, whether he's gonna be coming back and making a return. You've got the Brook and Amir Khan fight, which has been, I think they've kind of finalised the deals or are finalising the deal for that fight. So, and then what's his name just fought as well? Was it Gallagher? Kid Gallagher?
Kid Galahad.
Kid Galahad. Sorry,
yeah,
excuse me. Kid Galahad, and I did meet him a few years ago, and I found him a very amiable and nice young man, and obviously he's proved that he's a very talented fighter as well. So fair play to him, you know? Yeah,
you mentioned Amir Khan, Brook.
Yeah.
Okay, for years it's like, is it going to happen? Is it not? It finally looks like it's going to happen.
And it's a fight that, yeah, hopefully it will happen. And I think it's a fight that the public have clamoured for a long time. But again, I still think it's a good few years past its real sell-by date. I think Kel has, I wouldn't necessarily say it's over the hill, but it's past his very best. Amir Khan, I would say, he's definitely past his best. For me, this fight should have been 3 or 4 years ago. Yes, I know we've had the COVID and all this, so it put a stop to everything. But that fight there is a fight that should have happened about 3 or 4 years ago. So, but you know, it's a fight that people want to see. So fair play to them.
Who would you blame for the delay of the fight not happening?
I think it's boxing politics, which boxing politics, as you know, that boxing politics gets in the way of most good fights.
Johnny Nelson calls it the politics.
The politics, well, there you go. The politics of boxing. And that has really spoiled a lot of things that have happened in the game. They're really kept fighters out of championship fights and kept fighters out of good fights coming up, and it's I suppose, but it's always been a part of the boxing game. So we've had to, as fighters and ex-fighters, we've had to live with it and deal with it. So, but it's something that the general public, even if they're general public kind of armchair followers of boxing, they don't really understand, and they won't really understand because they're not involved in the nuances of boxing. So, but yeah, I don't often agree with Johnny Nelson, but yeah, the politics of boxing, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what, in terms of like Amir Khan, Brook, I mean, some of the boxing fans would say that, look, years back, Amir Khan told Brook, go win a world title, and then let's talk, and then that didn't materialize.
Yes, and now with Khan is, you know, did he when he fought his last fight? What was it? The Khan's last fight was
Terence Crawford. No, actually, it wasn't Terence Crawford. There was one after Guyota, I think it was.
Right, and
in Dubai. Yeah.
And yes, he went to Dubai, and it wasn't. I can't say it wasn't a very a good fight, but you know, it's not. You know, these guys are. What's his name? Kell Brook has now achieved what he set out to do by winning and becoming that guy. And Amir Khan's been kind of on the sidelines for quite a long time, which has been a shame. And like I say, it's a fight that should have been 3 or 4 years ago. Happened.
Well, look. Eventually, as they say, like 2 black cabs that turn up at the same time. It's gonna happen, and you know the straightener and all the issues that they've had in the past. It's about to be settled. Which way does it go for you?
Which way does it go for me? Well, Amir Khan is the bigger fighter out of the two guys. I think he's the naturally bigger fighter. Whether he's can pull this last big one out, but Kell Brook is on a roll. You know, Kell Brook is on a roll. He's kind of dragged himself back after the Golovkin the Golovkin eye injury what he had, and that takes a lot of bottle. And not saying he doesn't have it, and he's proved himself that he can have a fight, and he's proved himself that he's not afraid to stand in front of these bigger guys, bigger punchers, and take a few shots and give his best, you know. So, but like I say, I think I would edge and err on a Kell Brook decision. That's what I would err on, because like I've said before, that Amir Khan is kind of really well past his sell by.
Yeah. Okay, so the 2 fighters had a common opponent in Terence Crawford, and Amir Khan went a lot further than Kell Brook did. Can we read anything into that?
No, well, I wouldn't necessarily say you can read a lot into it. You are going to make comparisons, but they're 2 different styles of fighters, and yes, all right, they got the same opponent, but 2 different styles of fighters, and obviously Terence Crawford stopped the both of them. So maybe in a bit of a different way, but he's obviously got the win. And the thing about Crawford is that guy that he not just finds a way to win, but he'll go out there and take the win, you know what I mean? Regardless of really who the opponent is.
Special fighter.
Yeah, he is a bit special.
We've got to obviously look, you know, you specialise in the heavyweight division, and
yes,
we're just under a month away from Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk. How do you see this fight?
Well, it's a fight that they're actually having at the toilet. Oh, sorry, Tottenham. The toilet, which is quite disappointing. But no, anyway, away from boxing, away from football, I'll just talk about boxing. Yeah, it's Usyk. I think that Joshua's going to be too big and too strong for Usyk. Alexander Usyk is a very good fighter. I'm not going to deny this about him. But he's not big enough. I think when he fought Chisora, and I'm going to give my honest opinion, the Chisora fight, Derek Chisora was unlucky, very, very unlucky for me to come away with, not to come away with a draw. Because I didn't think that Usyk, he showed some flashes of his undoubted skill, but I didn't think that he really pulled out and done any kind of job on Chisora at all. I was kind of disappointed that he never got a draw. But I don't, and we saw in that fight as well that Usyk doesn't have that punch, that he hasn't carried from light heavy cruiser up to the heavyweight division that punch power. He hasn't got it. Not when you're fighting guys of 17, nearly 18 stone. He hasn't taken that power up with him. He might have that hand speed, but the power is, he'd have to stay and be around the division for a lot longer than maybe he might be. I don't think, obviously fighting Joshua, I can't see, unless Joshua hangs his chin out there, that Usyk would do him any real damage. You know? And I'm being really honest.
Well, you made it Usyk's couple fights at a heavyweight.
Heavyweight is not really. He hasn't really impressed me. People have come and said, "Oh, Usyk's the next Evander Holyfield." That I will laugh, because Evander Holyfield was like he was a man that was kind of carved out of granite, and that's how strong and powerful he was, you know. I was fortunate to have met the guy back in 1999, and he shook my hand, and I thought he was going to break my hand. And I'm a big, strong heavyweight. The man's he's kind of like, he's got he had the body of a god and a chin that was rock solid, you know. And he couldn't just only fight. There was some deep, dark dog that was inside him, that when he could go to the trenches and really pull things out of himself, you know. And he fought at heavyweight for a very long time. And he messed with the guys. He mixed with some of the biggest fighters out there. Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, obviously beating Mike Tyson. Like I say, Riddick Bowe. That fight, the 3 fights he had with Riddick Bowe were absolute classics. You know, anybody that hasn't seen these fights with Riddick Bowe, you need to go online or go on YouTube or wherever and find these fights and drag them out and see how that man Evander Holyfield was. People have likened Usyk to him, but Usyk hasn't contended in any kind of circles like an Evander Holyfield. For me, he's not big enough. He's not strong enough. Where he hit Chisora with some clean shots, and Chisora just marks him down, you know. And like I say, if Anthony Joshua holds his head out or holds his chin out and lets Usyk get him on the chin, that might be the only way that he would ever stop Joshua, you know, if he gave him clean shots. But he definitely wouldn't take him out in one shot. Not at all.
Yeah, obviously, look, you know, this fight is also connected to the winner of Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder,
right.
October the 9th.
And
straightforward for Fury?
No, it's not straightforward. It's not straightforward, but there are these things with. I don't think Fury. I can't see Fury losing the Wilder fight. But then, you can see Deontay Wilder landing good, strong punches on Fury, and then depending, I don't know how Fury can take a good shot. And I bet against Tyson Fury twice, well, 3 times actually now, because I bet against him when he fought Klitschko. I said he couldn't beat Klitschko. I bet against him in the first Deontay Wilder fight. I said, oh, Deontay Wilder was because of what Wilder was doing prior to the fight. And then I actually bet against him in the second fight. But I did say that in the first fight, what I noticed about Tyson Fury is if he'd stood and traded with Wilder like he did in the very last rounds of the first fight, he would beat him. And I think he obviously weren't down to me, but he stood and traded with, and at the second fight he actually beat the living daylights out of Wilder. And I think you can't just go, all right, then I'm going to do the same thing, because that's never going to happen. But what kind of fighter is Wilder going to be, and how does that loss affect Wilder coming into this next fight? What I say about Fury is a class act as a fighter. As a boxer, he's kind of undeniably one of the best out there, skill-wise.
You call him a Rolls Royce of a fighter?
I don't know about a Rolls Royce. Maybe he's the top of the tree. All right, then we're gonna call, yeah, he's the top of the tree. He's the top of the what? Yeah, if you're gonna analogies of cars, then he is. Yeah, I would say he's the Rolls Royce. The Rolls Royce. What they called it? The Cullinan. The Rolls Royce Cullinan. Yeah, if I'm saying that right. So he's the top of the range. He's got some beautiful skills. The way he moves, and you wouldn't expect it of a guy of his build and the way that he looks as a fighter. He looks like he's carrying a bit of weight, and he looks gangly, and he looks awkward. But everything he does, he seems to do with style and grace.
You saw him on a Mo the Comedian show, Beanie Man. Yeah, he was.
Oh, you know what?
He was joining in as well.
And the man actually, you know, the thing is, I've actually seen and been in. I've watched Tyson Fury and listened to him sing, and he actually got a good voice. But it was a really big shock for me to actually see the man toasting and doing his thing with Beanie Man. I was absolutely more than shocked. But yeah, he did make me. I was more than shocked. But you see, like, this is the thing about him. He does come out and he surprises, and as he's done throughout his career, he surprised everybody. You know what I mean? And I can't say that I wouldn't like to see him in the fight with Wilder. I can't say that I wouldn't like to see him take a few shots, but I don't think Wilder has got the thing now that Tyson knows. Tyson knows now Wilder's vulnerabilities, and he knows how to pressure the man. And I don't think, and Tyson is a very strong-willed person, strong-minded person. And like I say, he's got great skills. And I can't see him. I don't think I can see him losing. I can see him having a bit of a torrid time, but he comes through and then he definitely wins the fight. I wouldn't like to say he's going to stop him again, but he definitely wins the fight. Going on to him and Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. If that fight happens, which I can't actually see it happening, to tell you the truth, because unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, the winner of Usyk, Joshua, has to fight Juggernaut. What's his name?
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Sorry, Joe. Sorry. Even though I met you as well. Joe Joyce, another nice guy. The winner there, like Joyce is mandatory contender now for the winner of Joshua Usyk. So are we gonna go through another long drawn out negotiations about the fight, where the fight's gonna be, the venues, this, that and the other, country and all of that? Before that fight happens, that will take us to 2023, and then maybe Joshua and Fury might happen sometime in 2024. Can we wait that long? Because I'm actually bored of people talking about Joshua Fury. because that fight has been muted and talked about for the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? It kind of, yes, I've been kind of bored of it.
All right, lastly, Julius, before I let you go, David Haye making a comeback.
Yes.
At the age of 40.
What is the guy's name? The millionaire?
Joe Fournier.
Or the billionaire, whatever his name is. David Haye has said, you do not play boxing. He's going to show this guy that you do not play boxing. Boxing is not a game. You can talk boxing, and all you people that have sat there and said, oh, I could do that. Why ain't he doing this? Why are they hugging? Why are they holding each other? I could take that punch. You know what? Until you take that punch, you're never going to know. Yeah? You're never going to know. Boxing, I would tell this for anybody. Boxing is not a plaything. And David, I would imagine toy with this guy and give him a boxing lesson. Maybe he might give him 1 or 2 good, hard, stiff body shots to make him know. But don't knock him out, Dave. Don't be horrible to him. School him and actually teach him that this is not a game. Boxing is not a game. You don't play boxing. Yes, you do not play boxing. Remember this.
All right, we've got to thank the man himself, former British and Commonwealth champion, Mr. Julius Francis.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Subscribe.